ItemAsylum. It's a Roblox game made by JPX Studios. What does it have? Bosses, among other chaotic shenanigans. But back to bosses. Usually in a public server, you have a certain number of lives depending on how much people there are fighting said boss. However, if you own a private server and click the perfect run button, oh boy, you are in for a treat. Because you guessed it, that means you'll have to beat these bosses without losing a single life. May RNG be in your favor, no shit! So let's just cut to the chase. Which one out of these 11 bosses is the hardest? Now this isn't only just a ranking, because I'm like the best ItemAsylum player I know and I beat all the bosses. I will also be putting out a list of recommended items. If the item has a single asterisk next to its name, I only recommend it if you're able to use it properly. And if it has 2 asterisks, and it's highly recommended and one of the best you could get. So without further ado, let's get my biggest video ever thus far. Did I say gets or get to? Clayman or Specimen 09 is taken straight from the game Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion. Now I'm too lazy to do any research on the game, and I also don't want any spoilers, but its depiction in ItemAsylum is most definitely the most straightforward boss in the game. The only hard part is dodging simultaneous stone rings and light pillars, but once you understand how this boss works, it's not that much harder than doing it normally. The best part about this boss is that you only have a few items to get, which are all axes, so there's no risk of getting terrible weapons like Man on a Leash or something. However, this boss isn't the easiest thing on earth, as its main thing is blocking the screen. Hope he brought some glasses, because even if you don't need them, you probably are going to for the sake of seeing a single thing in this boss. Other than that though, it's pretty linear. You dodge some attacks, kill the lost souls, Undertale reference, deflect the orange orbs, and go bonkers on the stun guy until he gets back up. Rinse and repeat until he just runs out of health. There's not really much to worry about in this boss, as long as you keep moving and stay near the boss itself, it shouldn't take more than like 20 tries. Miracle Matter is a boss originating from the Kirby franchise, and it's rather easy to dodge other than the stupid fire and shadow modes where it's almost luck-based sometimes. Oh yeah, and there's also this AoE attack that ragdolls you and is super annoying, especially if it just knocks you out of the map and ruins an entire run. However, other than that, this boss is all around nowhere near as annoying as the others. Just get a ranged weapon with good damage per second and don't fall off the edge by the AoEs. Now the modes that you're going to hope to appear are the Ice and Poison modes, as usually they don't really pose much of a threat, and are by far the easiest to dodge. Now that does mean this boss is slightly luck based, but as long as you just keep trying, Matter really shouldn't be that much of a problem, especially compared to the other bosses coming up. And honestly, do you know what my entire advice for this boss is? Don't just stand there and take it, and keep shooting until it's dead. Sage is usually the pick for the easiest, but I disagree, at least whenever perfect running. It's almost impossible to dodge some of his attacks normally, so it's really important to implement some kind of strategy to be able to defeat him, as not doing so will make this boss much harder. And you want to know what also makes this boss hard? If you get hit by his charge attack, you better hope that you're lucky enough to avoid a somersault combo afterward, because if you don't, you're guaranteed to die. And talking about that does remind me of, you know, how hard it is to dodge most of his attacks. It's kind of his main thing. Attacks that you can barely dodge without a proper strategy. But I'm becoming a broken record here. If you want to beat this boss, make sure you have a good ranged weapon, because good luck using any of your melees, especially if they have terrible range like Spork. unless they have something like Shadow Axe or anything similar. Man of Nature used to be number 7, but I decided to move it down because, I don't know, it just felt right. Anyways, this boss's main thing is that you don't have any ranged weapons, so although that's a unique thing about it, unfortunately that does make it pretty annoying to deal with, as you better have a melee weapon with either good range or knockback, or else you're getting kicked in the schnoz. But I mean, at least you have one less thing to worry about getting something good. This boss's other main thing, however, is stun locks! As every enemy slows you down a ton, rendering you unable to do anything as they ragdoll you on the last attack of your combo as well. Like seriously, you have no idea how much it got jumped trying to perfect run this. Oh yeah, did they also mention Pig's stupid sand projectile? I mean, you can avoid it by just walking in one direction and going the other as soon as he throws it, but still. And there's also Rat's even more stupid invincibility frames. In fact, these enemies are so annoying that a speed boost is basically required if your melee isn't good enough. But alas, besides these few annoyances, this boss isn't the most difficult one ever. And if you think this boss seems irritating, you are not ready for what's to come. Ouija's a rather basic, but pretty hard-hitting boss. It's important to be aware of your surroundings and take care of minions fast, as they will become a problem. Now, Ouija's main gimmick is you not being hit, as usually if you do get hit once, you're almost guaranteed death, quite literally once you enter a second phase. So it's highly recommended you have a speed boost to both outrun minions, which are faster than an average player for some reason, and be able to dodge Ouija's attacks easier. And I'm not joking about these minions, because if you don't have a quick shutdown for these motherfuckers, you'll become a huge problem, as soon enough you'll be forced to focus on surviving them instead of actually damaging the big guy. But I digress. Ouija's nothing to scoff at either, especially his stupid Pokeballs. I die a lot to them simply because sometimes I just forget they even exist, so I just get launched out of the arena without even knowing what just happened. So yeah, Ouija's stupid annoying. My tips? Ouija usually stays in one spot until he randomly teleports, so try prioritizing focus on the arena and where he's attacking more than actually shooting him. Do be wary of where and when the guy teleports though, because it can be a potential issue, especially with slow range weapons like football or something. And oh boy, if the boss this annoying is this low on a list, then that should speak volumes on how stupid these upcoming bosses are. Beta honestly isn't really all that bad, except for the part where it's required to have a speed boost, otherwise Porta Boy will chop you in the Stunlock Simulator. Luckily, however, if you do have extra speed, and also know how to dodge, this boss becomes much easier. However, this boss also tests endurance, because like it or not, this boss takes a while to clear, so you better have good consistency with your dodges to last the whole round. A certain short skeleton learned that the hard way. Now, it may seem like I'm making out this boss to be much easier than especially the last one I covered, but don't get your hopes up. I am not exaggerating how dangerous Porta Boy is. Remember when I said this boss becomes easier if you have a speed boost? Yeah, I kinda slipped there. I meant this boss becomes possible if you have a speed boost. I mean, you definitely can dodge Porta Boy without a speed boost, but it's nearly impossible and I'm basically never able to keep it up for long. I don't even have much to say for this boss. It's mostly just avoid Porta Boy and the other two are add-ons. Although Gene's definitely pretty annoying himself. There is a very good strategy for making this boss as easy as possible though. It's focusing on one guy at a time in a specific order. You're best off taking out the guy with the green health named Gene first, because it kind of heals everyone, so you're definitely not going to want your progress wasted. Then Porta Boy because, I mean, obviously, he's like the main threat. Then Zeros, aka the guy with the gun, because honestly, he's just extra damage to aid the other two during combos. I think this used to be the easiest boss in the game. Should have stayed that way, to be honest.
Hello. Today, new information relating to the 10-hour burst man has surfaced. A camera has been found in a park not too far away from Thunderstorm. The footage shows an unknown amount of people attempting to hunt down the 10-hour burst man. It appears that the 10-hour burst man likes to hide within the shadows, so if you're ever in the event of a 10-hour burst man attack, avoid wandering in the darker areas. Viewer discretion is heavily advised, as many will find this recording disturbing. The following footage has been provided.
10-hour burst man is the most recent boss in the game, and is already infamous for being really hard, and for good reason too. He has an insta-kill move no matter how prepared you are, and other moves that are also extremely dangerous. He's just an all-around extremely hard boss, where you need to know where he is at all times to be really wary of moves that can almost instantly bring your health to 0. Take my know where he is at all times advice seriously, because you have no idea how many times very good loadouts I get have been simply wasted just because of an unfair vampirism or peace for all attack, where I question their hitboxes. With all that being said though, you are going to need to get behind him a lot, because that is most definitely how you can dodge most of his deadliest attacks, and that's super helpful for your eternal reward too. However, we're not done just yet. Here comes the second phase. It does make him take twice the damage, so you can use that to your advantage, but that does come at a cost of new attacks and the phase 1 attacks being buffed to hell. Strong left is a pretty easy to dodge attack and another opportunity to deal damage, but god damn, new vampirism and Grand Volley can kiss my fucking ass! First, 10-hour burst man can now attack with vampirism 3 consecutive times before he stops, and that can very easily end your run. And second, Grand Volley is almost luck-based and is easily the biggest run-ender. I wonder what other bosses have attacks that are almost luck-based to dodge. All in all, this boss is a pain to deal with, but even this won't prepare you for what's coming up ahead. Oh, you thought Beta was buffed hard in the Halloween update? Get a load of this trash! This boss is almost impossible to solo. The first phase isn't that hard if you know how to dodge, but the second and third phases are absolute nightmare fuel. This is the boss where I say that if you want to beat this boss, you need vampire knives! As not only does the skeleton have a big hitbox for all the knives to hit, but it also heals you greatly every time, which will greatly help you during the third phase, in which the skeleton just spams fast dashes at you where it's hard to both dodge and keep track of him. However, there is still a very good chance to die there. But back to the second phase, where the skeleton adopts this motorcycle attack, which is also almost impossible to dodge. I mean it when I say he's almost impossible to solo. You're going to need to play with other people to even have a chance of winning, as fortunately, this boss can still only focus on one person at a time. And oh yeah, I almost forgot about his for real gun, where it's literally impossible to predict where it's going to shoot. Go too much to the left, you die. Go too much to the right, you die. Start moving unpredictably yourself to have a chance at actually surviving, you die! This boss is so annoying, man. In fact, despite its number 4 placement, it was actually the last boss I ever perfect ran. Yeah, that's right. That's how utterly stupid it was to do solo. God, never again, man. But still, despite all odds, the boss right after just barely edged out above it in difficulty, and it's actually what quite a people will probably expect to be number 1. Yep, Trash Gang is at number 3. Despite the 2023 Halloween update infamously buffing almost every boss in the game, this one is the only one that actually got a nerf. They sized up the boss's hitboxes. However, that obviously doesn't make this boss super easy. This boss requires the most awareness of your surroundings, because if you're not careful, you might either get hit by a flurry of bullets you haven't noticed, or plummet down into the lava because the platform is so absurdly small. Either way, it's hard not to see your health just instantly plummet to below 50 as soon as you get hit once, due to the insane DPS this boss has. So it's extremely important to have both good health and good fucking hand-to-eye coordination. In fact, in contrast to the boss I covered previously, it's actually best to do this solo, because the more people there are, the more people covering your line of sight for these Dragon Ball Ki blasts. Fortunately though, if you remember the order of bosses to kill I suggested in beta, Trash Gang actually has its same order in my opinion. However, some people do say to kill Port first, so I guess it's up to you. It is highly recommended to use ranged weapons to have at least near perfect accuracy, fast cooldowns, and are not subject to gravity. I don't really have much to say about this boss to be honest. It's just really hard bullet hell as you try chipping down at the boss's health. Take a shot each time I say boss. But anyway, this boss kinda just speaks for itself. At least the name's accurate, I guess. Uncertified is the ultimate endurance test of ItemAsylum. If you don't get a near perfect loadout, you're basically dead, since you're going to have to play masterfully for an extremely long time. Yeah, this boss does not fuck around. Uncertified is so deceptively easy at the start that when you reach like the 3rd wave, you're thinking to yourself, when the fuck did this happen? Now this boss is also unique, because here you have to fight a vast horde of combat dummies and defend the statue at the center at the same time. So even if you're playing solo, you have multiple things you have to worry about protecting. Oh yeah, did you also know before today, the only combat dummies you needed to worry about were soldiers, commies, mages, and the ones that wield the fire axe? Well now, you have to worry about all of them, and the ones that have Dragon Slayer, Random Rubble, Stick, the Dangs, Bomb on a Stick, and Scythe. So you better keep your fucking distance. It is highly recommended to stay at the statue and shut down any of the aforementioned dummies as soon as possible. You better keep that up, because if your skills at practically everything isn't up to scratch, you're going to die. Oh yeah, the mini-bosses are no joke either. Sir Comet is the easiest because you could just keep a distance to kill him with a good range, but his main deal is the sheer amount of mages he spawns. Like seriously, were they not irritating enough for you JPX? Count Dracubat is the 2nd easiest, and the good news is that almost every type of dummy is replaced with these easy to deal with vampires, except one. So all you need to worry about is the big man himself, and dare I say, he gets annoying. Usually it's not that bad until he hits you with either poison or the literally undodgeable zap attack! Remember all these times when I said certain attacks are almost undodgeable and were almost luck-based? Well, this attack gives you no chance at all! You're going to get electrocuted, and sometimes even 3 times in a row! With even Dracubat doesn't hold a candle to the obvious hardest mini-boss, Minos Dummy, taken straight out of Ultra Kill, almost literally. Anyways, Minos is such a pain in the ass, and he's the hardest to avoid when you're trying to take care of all the other dummies first. You stop for 1 second and over half of your health is gone. You can make dodging his attacks a little easier by just going through a circle, but still, he's infuriating. However, most of his attacks pale in comparison to his Judgment attack, where it's the hardest to dodge and deals a whopping 80 damage! Who thought of this?! Anyways, after you beat all the mini-bosses, it's time for the Combat King, who is actually fairly easy to deal with. The dummies are the main problem actually, so once you take care of them, you practically win just by keeping a distance against the king and taking him down with a good range. Just don't let your nerves get to you and you'll be fine. Now, with all of this rambling, what could possibly be more dangerous than this? Well, you'll see soon enough. and quite a bit of the easiest to hardest list on YouTube. The people there say how hard it was to decide on number 1. Me though? Nah, this one was pretty clear cut. Clef Prime is without a doubt the hardest IA boss to perfect run, by a long shot. I still can't believe I actually subjected myself to this torture, and survived! This takes everything that defines the other bosses and amps it up to 13. The endurance, the borderline undodgeable attacks, the ragdoll and knockback, this boss has everything. His insane knockback and damage is an extremely easy run ender, and if you don't have an absolutely legendary set, you're either getting launched to the abyss or absolutely comboed to death. Not to mention, this boss gets more annoying when you have to sit through surviving the slungest prism every single attempt, which is easy, but can very easily kill you if you majorly slip up. Clef's hardest to dodge attack is his you can't escape move, but you can cheese it by climbing on top of one of those pillars. Just don't hang out on the edge too much or you're getting sent to Afghanistan. Now, his phase 1 is already hard enough to ensure at least a number 6 spot, but one lenience it does have is when he says nice try, in which he recovers his stamina and basically lets you hit him. Clef's phase 2, however, is what truly makes him the hardest boss to perfect run, as even though all it does is make his moves faster and, remove his nice try move, that is more than enough to have him just rush down on you and certainly almost always end your run, sometimes right when the phase just starts! Phase 2 is the perfect example of dodge everything perfectly or you're dead, and taking a break is not an option, as every move is at the pace of a usual Osumania map. What really solidifies this boss as the hardest is the personal experience. You see, every boss in this list took less than a day to complete, and even Uncertified just barely missed out on taking 24 hours. But this Sisyphus Prime knockoff took 3 whole days! 3 days! That goes to show that the sheer difficulty of this boss goes way beyond anything I have suffered through before. If you also know me from that one Last Breath Phase 3 video, then I think you should know that my reaction from beating that is nothing compared to how I reacted when beating this sadist! You have no idea how satisfying it was to beat this guy to a pulp! If you ever want to perfect run every boss like I did long ago, then you'd best be wary of Clef Prime, because he will be violent. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my parting words.
So concludes the life and times of Clever Naruto, a fitting end to the scriptures defined by a single game, doomed even before my imprisonment, and I don't regret a second of it.
Congratulations! You're one of the 4 people that sat through the entire thing. I'm so proud of you. But anyways, that is every single boss in ItemAsylum to perfect run, ranked from easiest to hardest. Thank you all so much for watching my biggest YouTube project yet, and I will be making more ItemAsylum content in the future. Yes, this video will mark an era for this YouTube channel, where I will try my very best to pump out as much content as possible relating to my current favorite Roblox game. If I have the motivation to, and also if this video actually does decent. But anyways, that everyone was my most colossal video ever for my 400 subscriber special. Once again, thank you guys for putting up with my constant suffering, and have an amazing year of 2024.